Hey, can y'all hear me? I'm coming out clear.
Damn,
My brother coming on. It's coming on. It's coming on.
I think I'm frozen.
Oh yeah.
Damn, hold on 1 second. I'm gonna end it and do it over again.
Yeah. You know what? let me try something here. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. It's been a while, but I'm waiting on this live. My brother running for Congress here in the great state of California. At least I'm trying to keep it great. Sorry about that, guys. Just got my questions flying all over the place on me. You know, it's always something, right? It's always something trying to work against the truth, but we're not gonna let that happen. We're gonna let my dear brother, see if he can join us here. Hold on. How y'all doing out there? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Brazil's in the house. We're gonna try this one more time. Try to add my brother on here. Come on, come on. Put our hands together, world. Let's pray.
Let's
Get
see.
going. No interruption. No poor
Man,
connection.
I think I'm still frozen for some reason.
Mm. Oh man, it happens sometimes. I'm shocked when I really want.
All right, I'm gonna log all the way out of Instagram, and then I'm gonna get right back in. Give me like 5 minutes. My bad.
Okay.
I apologize.
All right.
All right.
Prosperity. No, I haven't. I haven't been out of my man cave for a few days, so I don't know what's in my PO box. I don't have real stuff that's important come directly to my house. You know, got a lot of crazy people out there. I'm sure find out where I live, and they're always going through my trash, going through my mail. I'm sure. So no, I don't have that yet. Hello, Thelonious Jaha. Yeah, yeah. Y'all like my beard, man? My beard is growing, man. Look at that. Oh man, look at this stuff. It's crazy. I didn't even know I can grow crazy like that, right? I'm still waiting to go do my movie in Jordan or Algeria. Hopefully, they're telling me we can't shoot because it's COVID. And, we're gonna be trying to shoot again in October. Hold on, this is my brother back. Let's see if we can get him on. Joe Collins. Joe Collins, come on, y'all. Come on, world. Let's get this brother on. Let's get this on and popping. Usually takes a few minutes. I may have to check out my. Hey,
Hey, all right, we good, we good, we good, we good.
hey.
I'm gonna take this phone off my. I'm gonna take the case off my phone real quick.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, yeah.
Yo, they don't want us to win out here. That's what it is. Like DJ Khaled, they don't want us to win.
They can't stop it, man. Nobody can stop
Yeah,
the truth. It's that
yeah,
time.
yeah,
It's a glorious.
for
So
sure.
glad that you exist. I mean, people like yourself just lets me know that I'm not crazy. I'm happy to see everything that you're doing, man, out there, beating the pavement, getting the audiences that you're getting. Very proud of you, man. But anyway, I'm a to all my Spanish speaking people, try to speak slowly to introduce you to my world, my fans. You may see people jump on here from Chile, from Jamaica, from Brazil. They're all listening to you.
Yeah.
Love you, hear your story. I'm going to give it a little more for people to join. I think a few people that don't even want Instagram, the older folks, that they actually got Instagram so they can actually be part of this today. So let me give it a few more minutes there.
All right. You getting old, my brother.
We got people here from Rwanda. We got people here from Australia. What's up, Australia? They're coming in. Usually I have Turkey here. Yeah. We got Colorado, the state of Colorado here. Let me give you a few more minutes, and then we're going to get into that first question, okay? We got Haiti.
Hey, Haiti.
Yeah, we got my salon. The body fine. My salon people in here. Chief going to be Mangad's here holding it down, making a ruckus.
So let me. I want to ask you a question real quick, like off the record, that has nothing to do with like what we're talking about.
We got Morocco in here. Go ahead.
What happened on the 100, man? I was binge watching the 100. I'm like, damn, they killed my guy off, man. And it's just like the show went downhill from there.
Well, for people who haven't seen it, man, they're still at home on lockdown. They haven't even know what's up in season 5, season 4.
Oh man, look, the 100 was legit. It was dope. I like the double character. I was just like, oh, I binge watched it, so it legitimately had me on the edge of my seat, man, when I was looking at it.
Right. No,
yeah.
I actually asked to leave the show. You know, I felt as long as I'd ever been on television that I wanted to be, and I really felt had run its course. I got a chance to be the good guy.
Yeah.
Real bad guy because I was on AI. I mean, I got a chance as an actor to change from clean shaven Dr. Burke look to a little soul spot to full afro and full beard to and beard. I mean, I got a chance to be basically like 4 characters in a way.
That's true. I don't know if I would necessarily call you a bad guy, because when you look at the dynamics of the show, you know what I'm saying? When you're taking a leadership position, sometimes you got to make decisions that are not favorable with everybody else based on your own consciences. So I'm like, I don't know if I would consider you a bad guy, but, everybody had their own objective. But that was a damn good show.
We talked about that. We pushed the envelopes of the political process the best way we could, being too on the nose. But and he had to make the hard choices. We had a whole episode about the crown is heavy for the king. You know what I mean? That's hybrid dodge is that old platitude, that old saying. Heavy is the crown. But let's get into. We got a lot of people in here from around the world, and it looks like a few states. I see. If you see some crazy comments, it's just I got a lot of that are in pubescence, so they if you see some stuff, just ignore it. They're just being trolls, just to be trolls, but they don't mean no harm. I haven't met you personally yet, but I've been following you for a long time, and I've become a Republican myself since I've gotten thrust into this conversation. But technically, what people don't know is I've always been a Frederick Douglass Republican without a home. I was with the Green Party for 7 years. I left the Democratic people don't know. I left the Democratic Party during the Hillary campaign against Obama.
Yeah.
And I actually became part of the Green Party. I did not vote for Trump, and I did not vote for Hillary Clinton for the 2016 election. Now, with the information, the policy, particularly the First Step Act, that was my introduction to Trump, so to speak. And I actually got not to meet him personally, but I got to see how he moves. And one thing I'm very good at as an actor, I understand psychology and people's body language more than anything, right? I always consider myself like a closeted social scientist and therefore interrogator. So let me interrogate you now. Joe Collins.
Yeah.
Let's talk about where you're from. Take your time. And why, for those who don't know, Google Maxine Waters here in the state of California, 43rd District. This Google Maxine Waters for people who are watching around the world. I think it's important, but for asking this question, that it's important that I like to see what you do, because I've been living in California for 24 years and I haven't seen any change in South Central. the 24 years I've been in California. I haven't been to Watts, but I've heard of it. You know what I mean? I primarily because I've traveled for 24 years. I'm usually out of the country working in Canada or somewhere else more than I have been, you know, in America. So it's not that I don't want to go. It's just that I just haven't had the time. But in you, can you talk to a little bit us too about where you're from and your journey from where you're from to how you've come to decide that you want to run for office against probably one of the most formidable, I can't say effective, but one of the most formidable African-American congresswomen or congressperson in politics today.
Yeah. So I'm from South Central Los Angeles, born and raised. I grew up in 104th and Normandy. And so my house was shot up in a drive-by whenever I had just gotten to high school because gangs were still prevalent. And one thing that a lot of people don't know is I got a lot of uncles that started a lot of the gangs in South Central Los Angeles, the blood gangs, Crenshaw Mafia, Devil Lane. And so when you grow up in this type of environment, this type of atmosphere, you don't even have to get jumped into the gang. You're in it by birth, you know, and that's one thing my mom always tried to stop us from doing is getting involved in gangs, me and my two sisters and a stepbrother and stepsister. And so my granddad used to have like the biggest mega church before mega church was like really a thing in South LA. Everybody went to that church, but when our house got shot up, well, while we were at church, she was like, you know, we're moving to Texas. And so we moved right outside of Dallas. And it was a culture shock. You go from inner city to from gang banging and fighting every day to, you know, straight country, you know, and where you have an opportunity to get shot. Say again?
I'm from Houston, Texas, born and raised.
Okay, so you know, so we moved to a suburb right outside of Dallas. And so in Texas, like you don't see too much. It's gangs out there, but the way gangs operate in California vice Texas is totally different. California, they shoot and ask questions later. In Texas, they'll fight you first, and if you get beat up, then maybe they'll shoot, maybe they won't, maybe you got to fight them again, like in a couple of weeks or something like that. And so the dynamics really changed. I graduated high school in 2003. I joined the U.S. Navy in 2004. And that's where I became a conservative because I grew up in a Democratic household. Mom's a Democrat. My dad, he's something like whatever, you know, suits his interests. And, you know, you join the military and you get everybody who's from every different walk of life, and they force you to look at the party not based on what you grew up as, but look at the decisions that you make based on the values that you best align with. And so when you look at the history of the Republican Party, you know, started by the majority of black men as an anti-slavery party, the Freedom Party. Abe Lincoln was a Republican that freed the slaves. The first people who were in Congress and the Senate were black Republicans. And, you know, so it resonates with me. So I became a Republican. I'm like, fine, whatever the history. And a lot of people tell me, well, the switch this, the switch that. And in my opinion, if the switch happened, for me, it's about getting back to where we belong, getting back to where we came from. So the switch doesn't necessarily, whatever switch they're talking about, doesn't necessarily bother me. When I think about the switch, the one thing I think about, and I think a lot of people need to think about this, is the name of the game have changed from slavery to policy, right? And a good example is Joe Biden, probably the worst politician ever. Right, the crime bill, 3 strikes law, everything that has to do with targeting inner city black people, he had his hand on. You know what I'm saying? And so they went from public slavery to slavery in the form of paperwork, to where they don't have to enslave you if they can create some type of legislation that targets you to put you back in the same position that you were then back then. So all this stuff that people talk about switching, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't affect me in the least bit, because I know where we came from, and I can look at the black and white and see just as well as anybody else can that the name of the game is still the same. It's just how it's played is different. So that's how I became a Republican. I voted for Obama because he was black the first time. The second time I didn't vote for him because as a black leader, I expect you to do something for the black community since we put you in that seat. You know what I'm saying? So what Obama did, whenever he got into office, and I was in the military at this time, he reduced the budget for the military. right? It was so many times when they was like, oh, the military isn't going to get paid. And I have children. You know what I'm saying? So how you going to not pay us? And we're on the front lines protecting this country. So he reduced the budget for the military, but he constantly kept us at war with other countries. And also, instead of doing anything for the black community that I put him in office, he did everything for the LGBTQ community. You know what I'm saying? Pass all type of rights to make it legal for them to get married publicly. Mind you, the Bible says you do what you want in your private life. Everybody doesn't have to accept that. You know what I'm saying? But he passed all the laws for LGBTQ. When it came to actually having to support the black community, he would say this, I am not the president for just black people. I am the president for all Americans. He pushed that stupid line. You know what I'm saying? So the second time around, I didn't vote. You know, and then whenever Trump got into office, I'm a businessman myself. I was in the financial industry. I'm a broker. I was helping people get their retirement. I was helping people become millionaires in the military. And say again?
Here when you were in the private sector.
I was never 100% in the private sector, but while I was in the military, I felt it important to help people who were in the military to utilize, how can I put it, utilize plans that will help them become rich or help them become financially secure for retirement. You know, so I joined an organization, WFG, World Financial Group, and they taught me a lot about finances and financial planning and investments and stuff like that. This is what a lot of people are getting into right now. And, you know, the military, we only have a limited amount of products that you can invest in and become wealthy.
Right.
And so I felt it beneficial to step my financial game up. You know, right now I'm in college right now and trying to get my BA in accounting, you know what I'm saying? Because I want to be able to understand money so I can best help the people in my community to get ahead, you know? So I voted for Trump whenever he ran for president for the first time in 2016. I was very critical of President Trump until he became the president, because, you know, they teach you in the military, you support the president regardless if he's Democrat or Republican or what have you. You know what I'm saying? So when people ask me, how do you support the president? Very easy. I've been doing it for the last 13 and a half years, my whole adult life. So,
yeah.
And now here we are. I'm running for Congress against Maxine Waters because you move out of the hood with this representative.
Yeah, when you moved out.
It was 99, 2000 is when I moved out.
Oh, okay.
She was still a congresswoman, you know, South Central Washington. She's always had that area. And, you know, you come back in the end of 2017.
Dallas before you went to join the military.
Say again?
How long were you in Texas? What year did you move out of LA? How long were you in Dallas, outside of Dallas? And what year did you join the military? And how long were you in the military?
So we moved to Texas the end of 99, the beginning of 2000, like Juvenile, you know, 99 into 2000. I graduated high school in 2003.
Okay.
And I joined the Navy in 2004.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And I got out the military the end of 2017, going into 2018. October 2017 is when I got out the military.
Oh, wow. 13 years. Wow.
Yeah.
You've seen a lot.
Yep.
You caught the hold shortly after 9/11. You were in it.
Listen, I was in Iraq, Operation Iraqi Freedom in 2008. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to tell you, it is no joke. It is no joke. So I compare everything that I go through in my life, like when it comes to struggles or hardships, to being in Iraq. And I'm going to tell you this, I'd rather go through struggles and hardship as a civilian than go through war in Iraq any day.
Wow. Now, someone put a question up here, Mrs. Lady Hawk. I pinned it. She has family 40 as a Republican. Your family?
I'm gonna tell you this, Miss Lady Hawk. This is specifically for you. My family never supported me going to the military, but I've been successful in the military, so they supported it. My family never supported me being a Republican, but I've been very successful being a Republican. And now, being a young black man in my family, knowing where my family came from, my family supports me because not because I'm a Republican, but because I am a role model to the younger generation in my family, and I'm also a role model to the community. So whether they like the fact that I'm a Republican, you know, coming from a Democrat, or not, they have to respect the fact that I am a black leader in my community. I'm a role model for the younger generation in my family.
Oh, that's fantastic. Now, clearly, you have an issue with Maxine Waters
I have a legitimate issue with Maxine Waters, a personal issue with her.
because she is why she's part of the South, your South Central part of. There's different parts that there's Watts, there's South Central, and in our political system, we pick our representatives via district. Joe Collins is part of the 43rd district, which is the very district that this uh, Maxine Waters has been in. My God, she's been in Congress, 43rd district, and not really getting much done for the people there for
Yeah,
how
for a long time.
for at least your lifetime, most of your.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
when was the moment that you decided that you were going to run for Congress, and particularly against Maxine Waters, baby?
So here's a God honest truth. So it's a two-part question because I have my own personal reasons as well, and I'm gonna talk about it. The first thing is, you always say, a lot of people always say, like, when you make it, you come back to the hood and provide opportunities for the people who are in the hood, right? The community you grew up in. And that's one thing that I wanted to do. My mom moved us out of South Central Los Angeles. I joined the military. I got a lot of experience and leadership. So I am able, me being retired now, to come back to South Central Los Angeles and do what I can to provide value and opportunity to the people who live in that district.
Right.
Personal issue with Maxine Waters is when I got out the military and in the end of 2017, and even though I am retired right now, a lot of people think that these benefits come like right away, and they don't. It was like 3 or 4 months where I didn't have nothing, and I was bouncing around between my grandmother's house and trying to get my dad to let me stay with him. Mind you, me and my dad never had the best relationship. He wasn't there when I was younger for whatever reason. We never had the best relationship, and so I found myself the majority of the time homeless, like sleeping at the pier in Ranchos Palos Verdes, right? Until my benefits finally came in, and I was able to get a condo. I was able to help my grandmother with her bills at her house, and not be able to be a burden on her at the same time.
You were
But
home
during that,
after you did 13 years in the military. If you felt it affect you that hard.
it happens a lot. Because the benefits don't come right away. You have to do your post-military physicals. You have to do all type of stuff before you can even get benefits. You know what I'm saying? One thing that a lot of people in the military do is they give up. That's why when you look at the homeless population or the mental illness population in California, the majority of the people, even across the United States, it's always homeless veterans. I served between this time and that time. They don't know the resources. I served between this time and that time, and I got addicted to drugs. I served between this time and that time, and I gave up, which led to the condition that I'm in at the moment. You know what I'm saying? So the difference between me and a lot of other people was giving up is not in my blood, because I got a point to prove, right? So during that time, I was going to Maxine Waters' office every other day. I took her flowers, my last bit of money that I had. I filled out internships. I did everything to try to get this lady's attention, and it didn't work. And so I was like, you know what, when I get the opportunity, as soon as these benefits coming in, I'm going after her, because I feel like if we put our life on the line for this country, the least the representative can do is make sure that we have what we need so we can be able to live beyond that military experience. Because even in like personal relationships, whether it be trying to be married or girlfriends, or the relationship that you have with your family or children, it's always a different dynamics, especially when you spend your entire adult life in the military. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're built different. We're trained different than people who have been civilians their whole life. We think different. You know what I'm saying? So we have like a disconnect when it comes to judging the military life versus civilian life. We don't really have it. And the out processing, you don't even get enough time in out processing to even, have an idea what it's like to be a civilian. You go to the military, the Army, the Navy, you go from 6 weeks of training to 11 to 12 weeks of training. When you get out the military, 4 days. You know what I'm saying? How can you learn how to be a civilian in 4 days? It's impossible. So a lot of people, they end up strung out on drugs and all type of stuff. But I feel like I have a resiliency that I feel like I have a purpose in my life that God has placed that allowed me the ability to never give up.
Fantastic. That's fantastic. Well, that's I didn't know that. I could see the professional and the personal reasons why you decided to run. I think that I think the world of you without having met you personally. I think you're
Yeah,
still. I think it is timely. I think it is relevant. I think for so many, you can speak for those young minds that are trapped in a very corrupt system, levels of systems. Obviously, you're black, whatever that means.
yeah, right, right.
So you check off all the things for me. You're very disciplined, and you're a fighter.
Yeah,
You seem to be very clear on your vision for your campaign, and you're not afraid to tell people that I appreciate the advice, but I'm not doing that.
yeah,
You know,
sure.
I respect that. That's very powerful. And the one thing I respect is that whatever it is that you're doing and your team is working. You sent me
Yeah,
uh, 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 tweet that you're standing there on a Saturday in Sacramento, dude.
yeah.
And I'm saying, come on, dude, that was like, yeah, I'll join it. I join that stage with you, man, soon, But I mean, that's a long
Uh,
way. I
it's
or at least big flight. But the fact
yeah,
that what I appreciate about you is your hustle.
yeah,
You
yeah,
still, using that hustle energy as a young man for good, and I really respect. I intend on voting for you and doing whatever I can to support you and the Joe Collins is out there and the Errol Weber's out there, and
yeah.
Rhonda Kennedy's out there. I'm a citizen, so I don't have to be a part of an organization to support my candidates that look like me that I think
Absolutely.
to flip the Senate as conservatives, as Republicans, but because it's just time, you know what I mean? And I'm me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
How do you think this race will play? How do you think race? Okay, I really don't like going there talking about it because so many people talk about it, but there's no solutions and there's no salve and there's no way out of the debate of race, right? I really race, but they try to say that's cliched and hackneyed and nobody does it. We all are human, just we may not all act it like it humanely, but civil, but I come from a long line of ancestry that began civilization and the pyramids are still standing and people don't know how to figure it out. But for you,
Right.
the question is, how do you think that race will play into this particular election? Can you elaborate on that?
Um, Joe Biden just made it very easy for race to play a huge part in swinging the black vote. But President Trump is going to win, regardless of if he gets the black vote or not. And the reason why I say that is because when you look at the 2016 election, he only got 8% of the black vote. You know what I'm saying? And now even more people are buying into what he's preaching when you see the state of the economy because how the media and the Democrats overreacted to COVID-19 and everything, how they crushed the economy that we had just to try to make this dude look bad. You know what I'm saying? And also, from my perspective, and it was crazy because I was just on the phone the other day with the Black Voices for Trump with Herman Cain and Alveda King and Corinne and
Oh,
yeah, you know what? Because I got invited on the call, but one thing that people don't know about me is I don't care about like what position people feel like they have. I will get in somebody's ass in a heartbeat. You know what I'm saying? So Herman Cain made a comment, and it gave the perception that he did not believe that there were other black Republicans running. And then Alveda had to check him, and I had to backdoor Alveda and agree with her, but it ended up me tearing into Herman Cain's like, yo, you can't sit up here and say that the president need more pictures of black people and let's do like a comparative analysis between Joe Biden and President Trump, regardless of what President Trump did. You know what I'm saying? Because like I hold no bars to anything and I hold no loyalty to anybody who was not loyal to me. Right. And so I told him, I said, look, if the president want to get a black vote, the president needs to go into the inner cities. You know what I'm saying? Hands down, go into inner cities and have rallies. He may lose money because our inner cities are poor. You know what I'm saying? He's going to lose money going into the inner city, but he will gain that loyalty. If he talk about criminal justice reform and First Step Back, like you mentioned earlier, if he talked about the opportunity zones, which a lot of the the Democrats in the inner cities are holding up for personal gain. If he talks about how he's been able to create the best employment for minority communities, blacks, Asian, Hispanics, if he just shows a presence in a black community like he did, back in the days when he was, Trump the rock star, or Trump the guy with all the rappers, and the developer Trump. If he is that same guy and coming to our inner cities, he will get the black vote. And I'm gonna tell you this how I know, because I'm a Republican and I make it known that, I'm a Republican and I don't care what nobody say. I'm from the hood. I'm gonna keep it real with you. My boys always be like, "Oh, you're a Republican, yada yada yada. You a self-hating." But when they brag about me to other people, they say, "Oh, that's Joe Collins. He a Republican. He be with the Trumps at the White House and then in the Hamptons and all this stuff." You know what I'm saying? So they brag the good stuff.
Aren't we?
Yeah, I mean, look, and every time I come around, they want to, "Yo, what'd you do with the Trumps? What Donald Jr. say? Did you talk to him about opportunity zones? Did you do this? Did you do that?" And I'm like, look. I'm doing the best that I can, in my capacity, but he has to make himself known in urban communities if he wants that loyalty from urban communities. You can't go to Beverly Hills and skip out on South Central LA. You can't go to Newport Beach to raise money but skip out on South LA. Like, you got to bring that as a South LA. Go to the Staples Center. If you're scared to go to South LA, go to the Staples Centers at USC and have a rally and let the people in our community know like what you're doing for us, because he does a lot, but people don't know because it's so much mainstream BS media that they play all day. Trump's a racist. Oh, Trump's not doing anything for the black community. Oh, Trump, don't do this. And then, but, on another note, he has everybody comes to the White House, which is great. Fantastic. The White House is wonderful, but come to where we are. You know what I'm saying? Eat at the taco shops in the Latino communities. Come to the soul food spots in the black communities. Like, go to the hood where people think it's so dangerous. You know what I'm saying? And see what it's actually like. And I know he'll do it because he's from upstate New York.
Did you say this to Katrina Pearson and all those folks at Black Voices for Trump? I mean, how did
Katrina wasn't on the call, but when we was in the Hamptons, Katrina told me this. She said, "You'd probably be better off running as a Democrat than switching when you get into office than running as a Republican." How in the entire hell am I going to run as a Democrat when I walked away from the Democratic Party when I saw the destruction that they did on our community? I ain't doing it.
Who said that to you?
Katrina Pearson told me that in the Hamptons.
Pearson is working for the Trump campaign?
Yeah, the light-skinned broad.
She said that you should consider joining the Democratic Party and then flip when you... What?
She said, run as a Democrat, then change your party preference after you get into office. And I'm like, I told her this. I said, with all due respect, that shit ain't happening. You know what I'm saying? Because even when I tell my friends, they say, you should.
Katrina Pearson, who came after me to be a part of the Black Voices for Trump, she and Dr.
Listen.
King needed me so bad to be on their advisory board, but I opted to push Corinne Rankin, who is the president of the Legacy Republican Alliance. So I
swear to God,
my platform to build up that brand, to build up that thing, and I'm done. I did what I said I would help do. I'm dumbfounded.
I swear to God. I swear to God. She said that to me in front of a group of people too. I used to think she was attractive till she said that. As soon as she said that, I'm like, nah, I'm done. We can't even go on a date, even though she got to do whatever. We can't even go on a date. I can't even rock with you. Like, if you're telling me that I have to be disloyal to be loyal.
But when did this conversation happen? Like this year?
There was in the Hamptons in like September, October timeframe. It was not too long ago.
Oh, September of last year.
Yeah, 2019. You remember when the Trump did, when they did the rally at Joe Farrell's house? They did the fundraiser at Joe Farrell's house in New York.
But wait a minute, let's go back. I just want to get so this was said in September. She wouldn't, obviously, not to cast aspersions, but she wouldn't feel the same way based on your success on your own discipline and campaign prowess. I think she would feel that way today, right?
You know what? I've had a lot of issues with the Republican Party. You know what I'm saying? So I don't put anything past anybody. I'm not a Republican to be a part of anybody's boys club. I'm a Republican because the values of the Republican Party and where it started with aligns to me. If I have no Republican in California or no Republican across the United States support me, I would not be mad because I know who I am. I know where I'm from.
So was it difficult for you to get the support of the California GOP then? With that kind of comment being made back by Katrina Pearson back in September, here it is
I
now.
never, I've never told anybody that she told me that. And that stayed between me, my campaign manager, and a few people that was in that room.
Oh, world
When,
now, bro.
well, I mean, like, look, what they gonna do to me? You know what I'm saying? Like, we're already killing it.
I'm very outspoken. I'm like,
Yeah,
I say, look, if you're scared, just stay home, locked in your house, and Zoom yourself to death. Because you know what? Usually scared people go to church and pray. But right now, with this lockdown, based on the political party, you can't even go to church right now. So miss me with being scared and not speaking up. So I have that.
yeah,
I hope that Katrina Pearson would have a change of mind, and if not, I do find that it's very difficult to get Kevin McCarthy's and Ronna Daniels' support from the GOP leadership in California. Can you expand on that a little bit? And since we're talking about race, why wouldn't they consider spending the capital to bring Black people, Latino
yeah.
people? I don't like these terms, color people, but the melanated people, more
I
melanated
understand.
into Staples. That seems like a great idea to have a rally. I mean, I would recommend that. I'll send Katrina Pearson.
Man,
That,
they
that's a hell of an idea. How long is
they don't they don't want to rock with people they can't control. They're not gonna go with anybody who can control. Asians are easily controlled. Hispanics are easy control. And Sean Steele even said this. Sean Steele was a committeeman in California, and everybody think that he's such a big deal. Sean Steele, me being a Black successful man, running my campaign, how I've been able to with the background that I've been able to have. He accused me of stealing money from my campaign. Meanwhile, him and his wife, who's an Asian, Michelle Steele, are running in Orange County, are doing very well. He accused me of stealing money from my campaign. I mean, like, whatever, but when I questioned him about his money on his campaign, all of a sudden he had an attitude. I mean, like, do what you do. If that's your hustle, I'm not gonna knock your hustle, but don't come at me and expect me to be, what they consider like a house nigga or a quiet dude and not come back at you, because that's not how I'm built. But I've had a lot of problems with the Republican Party, but luckily we have people like Jessica Patterson who supports me, and Jonathan Madison and Corinne Rankin who supports what it is that I'm doing. And Ronna McDaniel, she's even supported me too. She asked me to become a part of the chairman's advisory board. I have a letter, nice letter and everything, but
okay, because now you kind of put a bad taste in my mouth about that September comment with Katrina. I just think that probably reaction. Probably, I think what I've discovered, I've already been in this civics world for 13 months now, this heavily, and particularly that my obviously I have kids here that have another 4 years in high school, and I want to see things get better for all citizens here in the state of California, because the corruption is clear. But this idea of actually having Trump have a rally in Staples Center, I think we need to tweet about that. We need to tweet at Trump with that. Yeah, and you're absolutely right. From what I've seen in the last 13 months, of frustration with individuals who happen to be melanated people are very concerned that the Republican Party, not really focusing on any concern in California, because they just believe that although they control 33% of the economy of the nation, they believe that it's a completely blue state. But in your experience, do you believe? I think California, my personal opinion, only been in this space for about a year, but I've been going down the rabbit hole, reading as much as I can, but I don't have all of the rules and regulations, how the FEC works, and have that. I know enough. If we don't get what we need, we can actually boycott the whole voting process in here. I know we have the power to do that, and as citizens, we do not consent. But you have Ronna McDaniel, you have Jessica Peterson, you have the California GOP, you have Corinne supporting you. So in your mind, is there a race issue still overall that you've actually experienced in the Republican Party overall?
With some people, there is. You know what I'm saying? Especially if they can control what you do, they can't control how much money you make. They hate that you are successful in your own element. So in some instances, yes, there's a huge race problem. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, at the end of the day, we're people of color. We got thick skin. You know what I'm saying? You keep it moving, because the goal is not to be a Republican. The goal is not to be a Democrat. The goal is not to be independent. The goal is to provide value and opportunity for our cities that have been left down for, years. I mean, look at LA. We have no economic development. We have no opportunities. We have poor education. We have poor jobs. I mean, Flint still don't even have water. You know what I'm saying? Flint still have terrible water since like what, 2008?
Got the budget. I heard they just corrupted and messed up the money under the Democrats there.
Man,
I
look, you,
just
you remember Baltimore, right? With Elijah Cummings. God rest Elijah Cummings' soul. I told him 2 weeks before he died, and they was like, you need to talk trash to him. I said, that man looks ridiculous. I'm not talking trash to Elijah Cummings. But they gave him $17 billion with a B for his community. He died, the money disappeared. Where is that money?
corruption. Yeah, just like complain about other countries that they want to call third world nations in Africa and India for being corrupt as well. So, in your mind, race is it race as much, or I've been thinking that I've been really trying to push the conversation. I made a tweet that, in my opinion, class and bias is the biggest issue with all. We all have our biases. We're all in different classes, and that there is bigotry and prejudice. And I get tired of the young people saying, white people calling black people, if you're going to deal with this racial construct, I'll just use this red, yellow, brown, black stuff. If you're going to call, there's no way a certain group of people could be racist because that certain group of people doesn't have the power to impact your existence or keep you to laws and economy. So racism and white people calling black people racist and all that stuff is just a bunch of malarkey to me. I think that the bigger conversation is less on this thing of ethnicity and race. We know what the problems are, but we also have our biases because we don't live and speak and talk amongst each other about real authentic conversations. How do you feel about this thing called bias?
I agree with it. I agree with that. And I also agree with the social construct because if you look at the series of events that's happened across the United States, the one thing between a black man getting killed and a rich black man getting killed is the money. The same thing when you see a poor white man getting killed and a rich white man getting convicted. It's always the money. So it's always who has the higher social class. And so from my perspective, although people carry their own personal prejudice, that prejudice is based on how you look. You know what I'm saying? I remember I used to date somebody and this is when I first started wearing suits when I was in the military. And they said, why are you wearing suits all the time? And I said, because I noticed that when I wear a suit, I get treated completely different. I get, hey, sir, how you doing, sir? Excuse me, sir, just want to ask you a question, sir. If I go out like a regular guy with blue jeans and a white T-shirt, hey, pull over, what you got? What's in that backpack? Let me stop you. You know what I'm saying? So I would rather wear a suit than wear blue jeans. You know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, so yeah, I agree with the social construct. I agree with the bias, and it's natural. It's going to be natural. Regardless of if you're black, white, Latino, or Asian, if you see somebody who looks suspicious, I don't care what anybody says, you're going to lock your doors. You know what I'm saying? And that's just how it goes. It's just a lot of people make a big deal when it's a black person. Oh, a white man locked his door. It's like, well, mofo, I'm gonna lock my doors too because you look like somebody who's gonna do something.
Well, I think across the board, with the people that'll follow me on Twitter are not all, people of color. I don't like that term either. I think the number of things are silly, but human beings that are resonating on my frequency, resonating with my truth. Most modest man in the world because I can't afford to be. In the business that I am, I'm like a fighter. I'm filled with testosterone. I got a killer instinct, and I have to win. I'm not trying to be a part of something that, give me an award like here in the state of California. This silly liberal silliness is like, I'm going to give you an award for participation. I'm going to compete now, in my opinion, okay, I believe that the basis of all bias, not bias, but racism or bigotry and prejudice is based in others who feeling that they can't compete.
Yeah.
You just explained it, that this Sean person had an issue to try to besmirch you because you were becoming a competitor. So I think of this, I'm not going to write a paper on it, but I really see that a lot of people that have problems with other groups of people is the simple thing of competition for resources, right?
Yeah.
Would you agree to that?
Absolutely. But But here's the thing, though. When you've been conditioned to believe that whatever is happening in your life is supposed to happen in your life, you don't know anything else. So if you hear, like Maxine Waters say, "Oh, the Republicans are for rich white people and they don't care nothing about you. They don't care. The Democrats are for the poor people." You automatically start to assume that I'm a Democrat, I'm poor, and I'm supposed to be poor. Nothing ever good is supposed to come to me. You know what I'm saying? Then when you hear a young black guy or a young white guy saying, like, you don't have to be poor. Let me show you how to be rich. Let me show you how to be wealthy. You know what I'm saying? And then it's that language is foreign to you, so you know absolutely nothing what to do. And here's the kicker, because I had an old lady call me and she said, when are young black men gonna stop competing with each other and start uplifting each other? So it started to make me think. The company that you keep when you're trying to be successful, you got your boys who know absolutely nothing about success, but they telling you, "Oh no, you can't do that. It's not gonna work." Yada yada yada. You know what I'm saying? So the company that you keep helps you to be whoever you are. So if you have a bunch of dudes who are around you that got a poor mentality, then guess what? They're gonna continuously drag you down. But if you have friends who are like Flavor Flav and they hype you up for everything, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna be successful. And so what we have to do, especially as melanated men, is start to uplift our own people and say, no, I'm gonna be your Flavor Flav. You tell me what you want to do, and I'm gonna go study that, and I'm gonna make sure that you are best at what you want to do, and I'm gonna hype you up to do that, and then you do the same thing for me, and then we all gonna get ahead. And if I get an opportunity, I'm gonna bring that opportunity to you. And if you have an opportunity, bring that opportunity to me. And I try to show and prove everything that I'm talking about. I have an organization that's ran by black people. The majority of them are Democrats. I'm like, yo, I want to support your organization. I'm going to donate money because you guys are giving to the community. I have another guy who is in the black community. Yo, I want to buy your office because in the black, I want to help you. You know what I'm saying? And so that's how we should be doing. I got another buddy of mine that's really good at podcasts. And I said, yo, I just signed a radio deal. I want you to come build out my studio. I'm going to pay you a consultant and I'm going to pay you to build my studio out. You know what I'm saying? Like, and this is how we should be. You know what I'm saying? Because if we're holding on to the opportunities, who are we helping?
Well, I mean, it was the barter system before this thing called money. Mercantile system was turned topsy-turvy to create this thing called status quo. I believe on both sides of the color construct that there are elites that are not interested in having yourself or me sitting at their table.
Yeah.
They're not as interesting. They're not as attractive as we are.
Yeah, that's true.
But they have the gift of gab and they know how to cheat and lie and steal. I really believe that. But I also believe, because of your frequency and mine, is that I am doing what you say we should be doing. I'm sharing my platform with you.
Absolutely.
We got flags sitting up here that I don't even recognize the flags that's sitting here watching this live right now.
Yeah.
Sorry, people, they're sending me some flags. I know that's Argentina, but some of these flags I've never seen before. But the reason why I wanted to have you, my man, is because I have a lot of, say, 35 and under, like from 12 to 37. And you certainly, in terms of me being an old head, people know me through my work. And like I've tweeted, that my activism has always been my work. I've always tried to even play on the so-called bad guy. I've always tried to intelligent character that you remember. And that's been my activism for people that look like me, is that stop looking at me and look at the content of my character.
Absolutely.
Okay, Martin Luther King said that. Okay, so let's just get back to the content of our characters. There's a lot of bad actors out there, a lot of bad characters out there. Okay, so we know what I really believe, that we need these bad actors and these bad characters so we can know who it is. And that more and more, in my opinion, that clearly I'm me, but I've been Isaiah Washington for 20-something years.
Yeah.
Oh, you're the black Isaiah Washington. Oh, you're that black doctor. They say Dr. Burke, or they say Chancellor Jaha, baby. That's part of the brand. And that's something, the power of these mediums that I wanted to share with you so people can hear your voice. And so far, so good. I want to keep it moving. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know you're busy. So we're about 50 minutes in, actually 45 minutes in. Your third question that I have for you is like, what do you personally want to accomplish while in office? Because I'm going to claim it. You're going to.
Yeah, I appreciate that. What I want to do is I want to bring value and I want to bring opportunities back to my district. I want to increase the value of the lives of the people who live in the district. And what I mean,
The
say
40,
again? Yeah, 43rd District, Inglewood, South Central Los Angeles, Watts, Gardena, Hawthorne, Torrance, Lomita, Harbor City, the whole airport area, Westchester. And what I mean by that is, being in the military was a blessing, you know, and it's something. Even though I retired early, it's an opportunity that I would not throw away or give back for anything in the world. But I've been able to see how people live across the United States. I've been able to see how people live across the whole world. And so that quality of life, that perfect life. No, it's not gonna always be perfect because we still have our own personal issues, but getting it as good as we can get. Quality jobs, making sure people have, work where they can have more money at the end of the month instead of more a month at the end of their money. Getting people to a quality of life to where they don't have to necessarily be involved in gangs or get involved in that social construct that Joe Biden has built for America with the prison pipeline system and stuff, like being able to provide opportunities. I want to give that to my district. You know what I'm saying? And so that's my biggest goal. And I think that in an unlikely event that I don't get in office, because I'm a win, but I want to be that person that's able to provide the opportunities. You know what I'm saying? And I think that the best thing about my campaign right now is I'm able to work as if I'm already in office. You know what I'm saying? We're working on an airport redevelopment project for Hawthorne. We're working with the aerospace
place that are in action.
Yeah. Well,
That's
I mean, look, I don't really focus on what a lot of other people is doing. I focus on what Joe Collins is doing and what my team is doing. And yeah, yeah. So I'm really excited about what it is we've been able to do for the community. We got NASA in the high schools. We working with aerospace and the transportation industry to provide more quality jobs, and anything I can do to improve the life of the people who live in my district at the level that I am now. And I know being in Congress, you have a lot more power, a lot more influence over what's going on, and I'm going to take that opportunity to do it every single time.
Can you be bought? Can you be?
Can I be bought? I'm retired, man. I got money coming in on a regular basis. I got my own businesses and stuff. They don't have enough money to buy me. You know what I'm saying? They'll kill me before they buy me. So
We're not gonna let that happen. But
yeah.
I'm not saying I'm nefarious, but I know a lot of people that have been trained $5 million each to do some nefarious things, and they're frustrated. A lot of them live here in California. They're not gonna do anything. They don't talk. They're men of action. We veterans. We're very disciplined. We're men of honor. We're beings that don't want to be. But all you got to do is give us a hell of a mission. We're gonna accomplish that mission one way or the other.
Exactly.
We're definitely in a war. That's great that you have that vision already. That you already accomplished things here for the great people, citizens of state of California. All those policies and these things you're doing, are they up on your website?
The majority of them are, yes. The majority of them are, but some stuff I gotta, keep under wraps because I don't want Maxine trying to steal my secret.
I understand.
She's already copying off us. Because
I got it. Don't worry about it. Get it.
Yeah, she's already copying.
So you're saying she's a thief? That's how you. What do you really think about Maxine Waters?
You know what? She did her thing, back in the days, but now she's not effective. Aside from my own personal beef, a lot of people like Maxine. They respect Maxine because she has been, and I have to give her the credit. She has been, the black woman that allowed, people of color, Latinos and black people to get involved in politics. But she's a shady character, and she hasn't done nothing for our district for a long time. So I have as much hate for her as I have respect. So it balances each other out.
So why are you a Republican?
I'm a Republican because the values of the Republican Party best align with me. And it's about, if you know that black people started a Republican Party and you know that the Democratic Party lynched black people, killed black people, fought to keep black people enslaved, it should be a no-brainer to get back to where you come from regardless of what people say. You know what I'm saying? That's just like I ask people all the time. I said, look, if you were messing around, and no disrespect to the ladies on here, if you were messing around with a woman who had AIDS or HIV, she said that she got cured. Would you go back and mess with that woman even though she got cured?
Stigma, no.
Absolutely not, because the possibility of her still having this stuff is still there. So the Democratic Party hung, raped, killed, enslaved black people, and then they say, oh, it was a switch. Well, just the thought of the history of the party doing that to our people, why would you even go back?
But people say that, but they can never tell you exactly. They can talk about various names, Strom Thurmond, that were Democrats that switched to the Republican Party. So when did it switch? Did it happen?
Exactly.
Did it happen? Happened on when did the party switch? Did it happen on LBJ because the Republicans forced him to sign the bill? So everybody keeps talking about, oh, they switched it. The switch is like, okay, then tell me when, because I know there's certain people that left the Dixiecrats because of the Republican Party, but Strom Thurmond had a black daughter.
That's true.
So everybody's playing these games, all right? So don't miss me with this whole switch thing. My goal is like, let's get it back on track for why it was created in 1854 in Wisconsin, okay?
What? I have yet, even when we talk about the switch because the LBJ signed that bill, I have yet to have anybody tell me the benefits of a civil rights bill. Because in my opinion, when I'm doing the research,
right,
it's more of a hindrance. It's more of a hindrance to the black community than it is a help. Right. Because what they should have been fighting for was human rights.
Yeah, I mean, because right now everybody's claiming, the gay community is claiming civil rights now. Yep. So everybody, when you created that civil rights bill, then that's really for everybody. It wasn't really special. I mean, even right now, the 1965 Voters' Rights Act is an addendum. It's not law. Yep. You have to argue that every 25 years. How do I know? I met this dude named Obama, while he was on the Senate floor, when it came out, smelled like a pack of cigarettes. All right, and I'm like, I want to meet this guy, but let's talk about what I'm trying to do in Africa. Let's bridge the gap because we get billions of people over there where even Andrew Young told me that Coretta Scott King was going to leave Martin Luther King for one time. Is because she felt that the civil rights movement should have been expanded to that continent, because if it wasn't, if we didn't engage all of us, then we were going to be talking about this and fighting for our rights in this years later. And she was right. He got killed in 1968. Whites blew up, California burned, everywhere burned across the country, and here we are still saying the same damn things. Nothing. Exactly. I popped off in martial law in 1992. And we haven't really recovered from that. We haven't recovered from the crash in 2008 that they planned, just like the pandemic. So I am a Republican now that I've been more informed. It's because of you. I became a Republican. Joe Collins, Aja Smith, Errol Weber, and Rhonda Kennedy. I am a Republican here in California because of people like you and whatever I can do on my platform, okay, to show that there are beautiful, disciplined, honorable, perfectly imperfect individuals that actually want to get things done. The one thing I know about the ADOS and the people out there, they want to see tangibles. Well, First Step Act was a tangible. What race is going to let people of color out of prisons, federal prisons? They don't do that. Biden wasn't about that with the 94 crime bill that I about. Personally affected me when I was younger, because although I was 30 years old, I'm like you. I look like I was 18.
Yeah.
And how old?
Huh?
How old are you, by the way?
I'm 34.
You still can be impacted under these bigoted regimes because you look younger. You remind me of I look younger. I didn't really start looking my age until right about now.
The coronavirus. Yeah.
6 years old, even though I feel like I'm in the best shape of my life. I'm lost a lot of weight getting ready for this movie. I got another big deal with some other conservatives. It's going to change the game in Hollywood, create a whole new studio system. I can't wait to do that. I got my own show with Fox Nation that I'd love to have you on. Anything else you want to say to my fans, brother?
Yeah, ADOS didn't endorse me, right?
Who?
ADOS didn't endorse me.
Don't worry about them. They'll
they want to be included instead of having their own separate bill. They say, oh, we should be included in this with the high schools and college. We should be included in this. I'm like, no, make your own bill. Get your own budget.
They're all about reparations, and I understand. But they have to understand the laws that we're outnumbered in this country by 65 to 14%, right? There would be
not necessarily. What
Huh?
I told him was, if you want reparations, and this is not a myth, this is not conspiracy theories. If people who consider themselves ADOS want reparations, they have to be ready for the backlash. Because if you go to the Library of Congress and you read, the majority of black people that live in this country are not products of slavery. They're not.
Well, that's why I kind of pissed off the whole system with the. I'm not going to remain nameless. Is I said, well, what about the actual Aboriginals, the actual Californians with a K, that were
That's what people forgot about.
here on this land long before the slaves were brought here? So when I said that, man, that dude lost his shit. He was like, man, block me on Twitter. He said,
He ain't never been to the Library of Congress.
right. I was like, dude, there were melanated people here for centuries, long before George Washington got here, and long before
Yeah,
19. So how are you gonna do a DNA test and account for them? But
exactly.
but what I really like is that the forms of reparations are individuals like you. I really
Mhm.
once you get you enough of you in power, that we can deconstruct the Reconstruction era.
Yeah.
That's what
It'll start with us getting a nationality, because no person of color with black skin has a nationality. We don't have one. They all that stuff got lost. So that's one of the first things I plan on doing.
you can't get a ticket to black.
Yep. It's not. You can't do it.
DNA test and finding out a mainland. We're the only people that supposedly that have power in this country who's spending trillions of dollars that don't have a mainland to point to. So
Exactly.
about the same thing. Which is it? Do you want to live in this motherfucking country or do you want to burn it down? You can't have both.
Yep.
You can't have both. And how are you going to ask a group of people from status quo to give you something that you say you earned through reparations when you got to get the president to sign it off anyway? So if they're not, basically not to be rude, if they're not fucking with you now, how do you think they're going to be fucking with you in the future? You're just talking. I've been hearing this conversation about reparations since I was 25.
Yep. Yep. Ain't gonna happen
It's
because nobody reads, man.
not going to happen, unfortunately, that no president has obligated themselves to admit through Congress, and maybe it may happen. My man, young Pharaoh, may have a plan, and maybe he could go back and actually take the countries, the states back that was a part of that bad Louisiana purchase, was a legal purchase. How to create a nation within a nation, and then everybody can segregate themselves and say, well, let's let all the people that are serious about being black folk that want to get things done like Rosewood and build up things and stop killing each other and be civil. Let's see how that works. And if not, hey, you can come. You're gonna have to conceive. You can come over to our nation. Because the thing about us, we don't have a history of conquest.
Hmm.
The one person that got into conquest, I believe, was Ramses. That's why
Nah, Masa Musa.
well, he went to India, and that's why you have these dark-skinned, melanated people in India. That's the one place he went over. And want to start procreating and laying my seed like Genghis Khan. There, that's why and then we're not even we're forgetting out the whole Aboriginals that were everywhere at the beginning of the Pangea. So this race conversation, in my opinion, has to be about human race.
It has to be.
It just has to be.
Has
Because it's a trick bag. I tweeted about it. It's a waste of time. It doesn't evolve us. I'm not a revolutionary because I've studied enough revolution to know that somebody's got to be a leader, someone has to be died, has to be killed, and then someone has to be a martyr. I'm not a martyr. I'm an evolutionary because one thing, when you evolve something, it never goes back. A revolution is like a revolving door. Everything that people are talking about that think I don't have patience with ADOS and HOTEPs, been there, done that. I've read those books. I get it. But here we are. I believe in frequencies and energies and DNAs like yourself. So I'm rid of right there, and particularly start in California, win, and then replicate it. And then bring our Hispanic and Latino brothers, like my man Mike Harris. Somebody say it's not a big deal. Take Katie Hill still. It's a big deal to me. What a Katie Hill, but not. We have to look at the frequency, is that he's there. And he's an honorable former, we're going to see. But if he get on some fuck shit, then I'm going to go after him too. You know what I mean? Because, absolute power corrupts absolutely. I got that, but not all the time. It doesn't have to be that way. But if you're reading this 48 Laws and this crazy red book that's a bunch of nonsense to make you deceitful, then, the world has done with bad foreign policy in the military. We'll see what Rumsfeld and Cheney did being deceitful and using our resources that he shouldn't have used in a criminal way, and we see how he hasn't been indicted for it. But is there anything else I got through the questions that we discussed? Is there anything else you want to share that we don't know about? because like I said, it's 6:05. I know you got a busy time. I want you to get back
Yeah.
to your winning. Anything else you want to share with my world?
June 19th, we're having our office grand opening in South Central LA on 105th and Western. We're going to have all the food trucks there. We're going to give away all the food for free. We're going to give away hygiene equipment. We're going to have some for the kids. We're just going to have a good time. So outside of that, I'm good. I really appreciate you allowing me to be on your channel and talk about, my platform and be able to engage with you on a public level in front of everyone. So, definitely blessings to you, King. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Like, if there's anything else more to do with June, like I said, however it is, I really want to get back in this AB5. Maybe you can come back and talk about your solutions for that AB5 thing and the recall of Gavin Newsom. Maybe another time. I've invited Aja Smith, who's like want to tell the world. You're talking to a young man who has made history in the state of California, winning his primary on his own with his team. Okay, made history. Now the media, mainstream media, is not going to tell you that. The liberals media is not going to tell you that. But people that are just in power, that just don't want people new blood. Okay, I think it's less and less about race and more about class. I really do. I really do. Hey man, I appreciate your time. There's anything else you want to say?
No, that's it, man. God bless everybody.
All right, man. Nothing but love to you, man. I got you back 100%. Why? Because
Appreciate
you're a veteran. 1, 2, you look like me. 3, 4, you're California. And I believe, like Ellen West says, you win, hold the line in Texas. We win, hold the line in California. We can actually have change for all American people across the country. All right? I believe that.
All right. God bless. Good night.
Good night.